Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm Lori LeBay, and I'm the host and founder of Alzheimer Speaks. For those of you that are new to our show, I just want to take a moment and explain who we are as Alzheimer Speaks. Basically, we're an advocacy-based group based in Minnesota. Our goal is to shift caregiving from crisis to comfort around the world when it comes to dementia care. And we really believe that by joining forces and sharing knowledge and just having these everyday conversations about life with dementia, we can remove the stigmas attached to memory loss and help those that are in the trenches take back their lives and live with purpose. So I absolutely love my job. My history is my mom has had memory loss and dementia for 30 years. She's been in a care center for 12. And in her end stages for 4. Today's show, we're going to be talking about daring to care. We have author Cheryl Carmichael with us, who actually wrote the book, Dare to Care, and it is loaded with tons and tons of great information. Cheryl left her engineering career with HP in '97 to pursue her passion for helping elderly. With the Arizona Department of Health Services, she has trained and managed surveyors who inspect, enforce, and license assisted living facilities in Arizona. She was hands-on and a long-distance caregiver for her own mother, grandmother, and grandfather. So welcome, Cheryl. How are you doing today?
Hi, fine. Thank you very much.
I'm really anxious to talk to you and get in more depth about this book because when you sent it to me, I was so excited from the moment I opened it. The way you have laid this out, the way the information is structured, it's very easy to be able to kind of chunk down and process as a reader. And I think that's such a critical piece, especially when we're dealing with caregivers because time is so critical. So why don't we start out with, can you tell us why did you decide to write this book, A Dare to Care, Caring for Your Elders?
Well, I wrote the book, Dare to Care, Caring for Our Elders, to help family caregivers keep their loved ones living in their own homes. My journey as a family caregiver began when my youngest son, he was still in high school, and my mother was diagnosed with emphysema. I was working as an engineer. I lived in Colorado, and she lived in Arizona. I asked her to come live in Colorado, knowing that she would need help as the disease progressed. I can still hear her voice on the phone saying, Cheryl, I want to live at home. I always have. I want to live independently. I want to be near my friends. Without a choice, I became a long-distance family caregiver. When my son left home and went to college, I started volunteering in the realm of aging. I found that most of the elderly persons I worked with either wanted or needed financially to stay living in their own homes, so I kind of adopted their motto, aging in place. My passion for serving the elderly actually led me to change careers. I started in 2000 with the Area Agency on Aging here in Phoenix, Arizona. I attended night courses at the local community college, and within 2 years I had my associates in gerontology, which is the study of aging. It's not nursing, it's the study of aging, something I was just so interested in. With my degree in hand, I changed jobs to work for the state of Arizona Health Department. And I want to tell you, lots and lots of seniors retire here in sunny Arizona or at least come in the winter months. Our office dealt with protecting the health and welfare of thousands of elderly residents living in assisted living throughout the state. I wanted to share that assisted living is where the senior or their families actually pay to have the senior live in these homes or centers so that caregivers are provided 24/7. Here in Arizona, we have over 2,000 homes that are assisted livings in over 250 centers. A large percentage of the people in these are like your mother that have the memory loss and they do need the caregiving 24/7. So in this office, we monitored trained and certified caregivers. As my journey continued, I found out a lot about assisted living, and I'm a writer. So over time, it became just really obvious to me that I had to write this book, that millions of family caregivers would benefit from just an easy-to-read reference. I chose my topics from those that the certified caregivers had in their books, and I am a certified caregiver. I basically wrote Dare to Care for family caregivers.
Okay. And that is so important because most of us just get tossed into this circle. And, it's all of a sudden, hey, you've arrived. The welcome mat is there and the path is ahead, but you have no idea what you're in for. You just know that you've got a new title. And it can be kind of a daunting thing. I like your picture of the hot air balloon because it really is an adventure. And it can be really beautiful or it can be awfully scary depending on where you are in the journey. And I think our frame of mind, too, in terms of how we're going to go about tackling this whole piece ahead of us. Can you tell us a little bit about your personal experience and how you've been touched with your own family with Alzheimer's disease?
I can. I actually have two stories to share. I was introduced to dementia in 1986, so that's 3 decades. It's interesting that that's the length of time that you have also been involved with dementia. And I had children in elementary school, and they were playing baseball. And at the time, we moved to a town that my great-aunt Marie lived. Her only daughter, her only grandson lived in Oregon. So I went to visit her. And on my very first visit, I found her very confused and very sad. And I didn't understand this. I understood the sadness because she lived alone for a year. She had lost her husband of 60 years to stomach cancer. And she lived in a 6-bedroom, 3-story home in Manitou Springs. And Lori, I want to tell you, each room and every closet definitely held years of collectibles. But what neither of us knew at that time, because I was an engineer, is that she had dementia. Knowing more about dementia now, her actions make sense because after that very first visit, I began getting several phone calls at work, and she kept asking me to come and be with her. And at one point, I actually had her write notes on her calendar telling her what days I worked and what days I would be at home if I'd only known about dementia. But I didn't. So over a period of several months, I was able to get her house sold, and we packed up her very important collectibles, and we moved her near her grandson. I want to share with your listeners also my current experience with Alzheimer's. Within the last decade, the last 7 years, my father, Bill, he's been diagnosed with dementia. And he told me of this diagnosis, and this I just don't know if other people have had this same introduction, but he said that he had gone to his doctor for his physical, and he was just fuming because the doctor had used the word dementia. Mm-hmm. And in my dad's outdated dictionary, dementia is defined as senile or senility. And he let me know he was not senile. Since I had my degree in gerontology, I was able to tell him that dementia is kind of like memory loss. And that he understood. That he understood that he had noticed his memory loss. So that wasn't as startling to him. He could accept that. And to this day, he will tell us now that he has memory loss. So that's why I use the term memory loss in my book for any of the diagnoses of dementia or Alzheimer's disease, and I really enjoy being with my dad. He's in the middle stages.
Well, it's so important because, when you hear senile, you think of going crazy. That's not what this disease is. And, when I was 13 years old, my great-aunt, they called it senile,
Yes.
And I'll never forget the day she didn't remember my name, and I was so devastated. And all I was told, literally, was, Lori, that's what happens when people get old. They go crazy, and there's nothing you can do. And I just remember thinking, I don't ever want anyone to feel that kind of pain and to feel that disconnected. We really have to use terms that relate in a very human and compassionate level because this is a disease. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. It's a disease. It's not the person in total. And I think when we hear, for years we've heard the word Alzheimer's and now dementia we're starting to hear more of, but people just looked at them like, I can't communicate with them anymore. And that's so far from the truth. Even in end stages, there are still ways to communicate. I thank you for sharing that story with your dad. I think that's a really important story. Can you tell us about family caregivers and what do you think that they can learn from your book